Hello. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I'm gonna paint some miniatures. That's what I'm gonna do here. Currently looking for some inspiration / reference on the internet. But I have painted miniatures like this before. That's what I'm gonna do, but if you guys want to talk about anything, that's fine. We can chill and chat. I don't know if I have the best camera set up. I'm not exactly set up to for this, but we'll try to make it work. So basically what we have here is we've got a few minis. I'm gonna have to adjust the camera a little bit. We've got 4 minis, I mean. You can see the camera behind me. They're kind of like, they're Death Knights and Helmed Horrors. That's what they officially are. I'm using them for kind of like Revenant type creatures, like undead knights basically. Maybe you can see it on this camera. Let's zoom in. Or, yeah, this is what they look like unpainted. So yeah, I am DMing the game. So these guys, they basically wear armor. So I'm just gonna start by painting like armor color on them. I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna try to lay down some paint. We just played 5e, D&D 5e. So the dudes with the capes are a little bit more complex, I think. Is that better? I just want to get it in the frame. I'm gonna start with these guys because they're mostly armor. Probably not that easy to see, but we'll see. We'll see how it works. Yeah, your players will mess up your plans. I think I need to move my palette a little bit closer. Let's do that. Hopefully I don't mess up my stuff. All right. Painting is, it's very fun. It's like it's kind of relaxing actually. And it's also not as hard as you might think it is. Like, it might feel very intimidating if you've never done it before, but I promise you it's not hard at all. Just put the colors, just paint the things the colors that you want them to be. Obviously, there are some techniques that you can learn to make it, you know, improve it a little bit better, but you'd be surprised at how decent you can make it even as a beginner or when you first start. And I'm gonna try to keep this in frame, but I might get careless with it. One day I'll get like a an actual like setup for this. Gotta make sure I might have to move my hair out of the way. Do that. Too much hair. Can everybody hear me okay? The mic is a little bit further away from me to make room for these minis, so let me know if it sounds weird. I appreciate that you post on YouTubers. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I kind of have this desire to help smaller creators, because there's not a lot of resources like of good information about what you're supposed to do on YouTube, and I'm like constantly sort of behind the curve on information. So I just feel like if I can help someone not stress over it like I did in order to get the information, that's good. I'm also working on maybe like providing like more in-depth consultation for smaller creators. For people that, you know, want that kind of thing, because you know that exists, but it's usually like really like expensive. Like people will charge like $1,000 for a YouTube course or something, which is like, ain't nobody got that kind of money. So I figure I could do it for a little bit cheaper. So right now I'm painting it silver, which is a little bit hard to see because it's already gray, but it'll come out in a second. The hair just came back. It came back. Sometimes it's hard to tell like what the actual like what are they actually wearing? What are these minis wearing? It's hard to tell what parts of it are armor and what parts of it are not armor. But it doesn't matter as long as it looks okay when you're done. That's something I had to teach myself, is do not overthink it. Otherwise, you'll never finish it and you'll just stress yourself out. And I'm by no means an expert at painting miniatures, but it's fun to do. And you can get it looking pretty decent without much effort. You just, you know, have like a basic idea of what to do. It really is as simple as just painting things the color that you want them to be. And you have a lot of leeway because, you know, unless you're trying to win some kind of contest, nothing has to be perfect. And if you mess something up, you can always paint over it. That's the beauty of this kind of paint, which I think is acrylic based. It dries quickly and you can just paint over it. How do you come up with videos where you looking at to become a Scrabbler for a vid, or did the video come as a result of a passion project? I had been watching Scrabble videos already before I even thought to make the video, but eventually I was like, that'd be maybe make a cool video of just me trying to, like, I'm the type of person, I'm a very competitive person and I like being good at stuff. So I already was like, oh, I'm gonna try to learn how to play Scrabble because it's fun and it will be cool to be good at it. But then as I was doing that, I was like, wait, this might make a cool video. So then I just focused into making it on the video, but it's something I probably would have done even if I wasn't going to make content for it. So yeah. Is this even, can you even see the paint? Kinda. Once I start adding colors, you should probably be able to see them. Brad, thank you for the $5. Critical hit. That's the perfect perfect sticker. Oh god, my OBS is already messing up. Okay. Like I said, I'll try to keep it in frame, but I don't have the best setup. What's the session you're planning for? I don't, it's possible that someone from my group is watching, but I think that they know if they thought it would have spoilers, they wouldn't watch. But we're playing we're playing Curse of Strahd, if you're familiar with that module. It's a really cool horror themed module. They're currently in a dungeon with some undead creatures in it. I actually didn't see the D&D movie. I was kind of waiting for it to come to streaming, which I guess it is now, right? I just never got around to it. I would like to see it though. I have to be careful because I have a drink here, and then I also have my water for my paint. So I have to be careful both that I don't dip my paintbrush in my drink, and also that I don't drink my paint water. But it wouldn't be too much of a spoiler for my players because they kind of already know that these creatures are there, but they may not know how many there are, so that could be a spoiler. And the good thing about painting these on stream is I can now deduct all this stuff as a business expense. All the paint and brushes and figures. It's a perfect racket. Wasn't Curse of Strahd a Ravenloft module? Curse of Strahd is based on Ravenloft, which is a module, I believe. But it's kind of been adapted into, you know, the more general Forgotten Realms kind of thing. Okay, so let me go ahead and paint these shields as well. Yeah, there is a campaign setting for, or campaign setting for Ravenloft, but I think originally it was an adventure, if I'm not mistaken. But it's like one of the most popular ones, so it's been adapted and rewritten a couple times. For a good reason though. It's Curse of Strahd is really cool. Or at least I think it's cool. It's like, it's a horror themed campaign. So it's very dark and depressing, which maybe some people may not like, but it's really cool. Hopefully my players are enjoying it. Do I print my own minis? No, although I would like to get into that one day. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Midwinter minis, but there are some people that I originally followed when I was first trying to get into painting. But yeah, I should check out some of these channels, because I kind of like learned the basics of painting and then stopped learning. But I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I could be doing and other materials and stuff that I should know about. Yeah, I would say Curse of Strahd is not an adventure for beginner. Well, I don't want to say that, because I think at the end of the day you can run whatever you want as long as you dedicate it. But generally I would not say it's for beginner DMs or beginner players, because it's also pretty hard for players. Very tough, very easy to die. But I ran, right before running Curse of Strahd, I ran Storm King's Thunder, and if you're familiar with that module, it's like the most sandboxy module I've ever even seen. Like, there's like legit like globe trotting in that module, and you have to like be prepared to run like dozens of different locations. So I can deal with sandbox. Storm King Thunder is basically GTA Forgotten Realms. I like that comparison. But yeah, that was, well, I ran that one a couple years ago. And that was actually, I ran that actually from 1 to 20. I've done 2 1 to 20 campaigns now, which is crazy. Some players never even get to experience what level 20 is like. Right now I'm just painting the armor and shields and stuff. Just laying down this like metallic silver paint. One thing that's cool about painting minis is like it kind of looks weird for 90% of it, and then it all comes together at the end. Usually. Sometimes it still looks bad, but usually it comes together at the end. I use some elements of Descent into Avernus in one of my last campaigns, but I didn't follow the entire module. Never thought about the write-off thing. I employ my son on our channel. Technogus, I could write off the gas for picking him up. He lives mad far. Sure, yeah. Absolutely, you can write that off. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, so if you want to be sure, you should talk to someone who is one of those things, but that would be my assumption. I'd like to run Waterdeep Dragon Heist, but I think, I don't know, like the more you play D&D, the more you want to do like new and interesting things, new settings, you know, weird, fantastical type stuff. So I don't know if we'll be doing, I mean, we might do another pre-written module, but it has to be something like really cool and new. Like we were thinking about doing maybe a Spelljammer thing. But I've been watching, I really like Dimension 20, and I've been like, I love all the weird settings they have, and I want to try something like that. Just got to come up with an idea. By the way, this is, I don't see a lot of people doing this, but this is a great way to paint a lot of minis. Is just get a big cup and stick them to the top. You don't want to paint, you don't want to hold the minis in your hand because you're going to cramp your fingers up real fast. You want to put them on something. You can use like a pill bottle if you're just doing one, but I want to do 4 at a time, so I got this big cup. Have I ever played anything outside of D&D? Yes, I've played Vampire the Masquerade, which I love. I played Call of Cthulhu, which is cool. I've played Kids on Bikes, Kids on Brooms. Those are the main ones I've played. I've played some other systems. I've even tried to homebrew a system, kinda. Probably some other stuff I can't think of. My last campaign actually was a homebrew campaign. Which is a very daunting thing. But I think I pulled it off okay, I guess. Still got a few more things to paint here. I really like making homebrew one-shots. I think I've gotten pretty good at, like, whenever I have to run a one-shot, like, you know, sometimes if a player can't show up, we just decide to pause the regular campaign and just do a one-shot or something. And I used to like look for one-shots to run, but I've gotten pretty good of just homebrewing them, and I enjoy doing it because then you can just go wild and put whatever you want in there. My hair. Hold on, let me see if this will help. How do they attach? How did I attach them? I have some like sticky putty. You can get it from like craft shops and stuff. Is this stuff here? See if it'll focus. Just like sticky putty stuff. Additionally, you could also use like sticky Velcro things. Can you, yeah, you can make a suggestion. What is my thoughts on Disneyland? It's fine. Don't know. Can you be more specific? I haven't been to Disneyland in a long time. So I'm always, the only thing with painting a lot of minis at once is sometimes you miss spots because you're like going from mini to mini and you end up missing a lot of stuff and you have to go back, or at least I do. I don't know, maybe other people don't have that problem. So this guy has a cape, so I don't want to paint the cape metallic colors. See, I'm not in frame anymore. Bigger brush for base coating and moving on to smaller one. That probably would have helped on certain parts, but overall, I'm okay with using this brush. And it's, I don't know, it's just useful to, with a bigger brush, there'd be a lot to paint over because it would get everywhere. So I don't really have the steadiest hand, which is not a big deal because you can paint over stuff, but it's useful to just try to get it as clean as you can on the first go, or useful to me at least. We're painting undead knights, basically. Technically, they are death knights and helmed horrors. But there's on these helmed horrors, there are big sections of armor that maybe a bigger brush would have helped with. And I keep finding spots that I've missed. Do I have a favorite kind of NPC that I run a lot? I always have a kooky shopkeeper. That I run a lot. Well, I always, well, not always, but I usually, here's like a hack for DMs. I either put a child or childlike character in your games, players love it. They will instantly adopt this character. So I tend to do that a lot. Make a kind of, they don't even necessarily need to be an innocent child, but I think players kind of like the idea of taking care of someone who can't take care of themselves. So I've done that, I think, in every campaign. Obviously, some players don't like putting children in danger, so obviously you want to talk to your players and make sure they're okay with that. But if they're okay with it, players tend to like the idea of protecting children or childlike figures. Galir. I don't know if Galir is exactly a childlike figure, but he is somewhat. He does need to be protected for sure. And I think that's why the characters were drawn to him. Is it difficult to a boxer die in a fight? Are you asking if it's difficult for a boxer to die in the ring? One day I'll get a better camera set up so you can actually get a better idea of what I'm actually painting. One downside to using this cup method is sometimes it's hard to get around the back because the other ones are in the way. But I have found that the benefits outweigh the negatives. But yeah, as I said, I'm not an expert, so I'm open to any advice. I think I got all the metal parts. Black, gray, and green. Maybe. Campaign or one-shot suggestions for first-time DM. I always recommend the starter campaign, Lost Mines of Phandelver, is perfect for first-time DMs. They released another starter campaign, Icewind Dale, I think it's called, but I've never run that one. But that starter set comes with a lot of stuff. If you don't if you have like zero, like if you have no dice, no character sheets, you get one of the starter sets. It'll work out. But I've run the Lost Mines of Phandelver, and I think it's great for first time. And in fact, that's the first campaign that I've ever run, and it's a good intro campaign for players and DMs. I'm just gonna make his whole armor here. All right, so what color? So this guy has a cape on, and he has kind of like a cloth sash going over his armor, which I guess I'll make those things the same color. I think I'm gonna make his belt metallic. The other one is just mostly armor, so that one's easy, but this guy is a little more complex. But if you just want to run a one shot, by the way, going back to that question, go to Matt Colville's YouTube channel. He has a series called Running the Game. Go to the beginning of that series, and he basically shows you how you can run a one shot with very little preparation, and it's very easy. I've also used that when I first started. It's perfect, and it also shows you how easy it is to get started with D&D. Do you ever use the child character to get players to act more thoughtfully careful? I don't necessarily have to. I think my players are already somewhat careful. That's just the way that they naturally play. But it does get them, it does make them like more invested in what's going on. All right, let's see. I'm gonna paint these guys. I'm gonna do like a grayish black for the armor guys. How did I find a good group to join up with? Well, fortunately for me, that wasn't a problem for me. I basically just asked my closest friends if they wanted to play, and they said yes. So I was lucky in that respect. In my experience, maybe this is just my town or my experience, but in my experience, there is no shortage of people who want to play D&D, especially nowadays when it's like so popular. It seems like everybody wants to play D&D, but they just need someone to run the game or set up the game. So the easiest way to play D&D is to volunteer to run the game, because there seems to be a lot of people that want to play. Hello from Brazil. I really do like your channel. You're honest and right in what you say, and that's everything. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliment. In D&D, do classes have pets like hunters and WoW? Yes. Many classes can get pets. Rangers can have pets. Wizards and warlocks can have pets. Is that it? I think every spellcaster has a spell that summons something that helps. Like druids can summon like woodland animals, but they're not like permanent pets. They go away after a while. But many players choose to roleplay them as pets. But I think it's, as far as like permanent pets go, wizards and warlocks get familiars, or can get familiars, which basically stay out, and rangers can also get that. And there may be some other like unearthed arcana or like extra content where people can get pets that I'm not really familiar with. All right. Hopefully you'll be able to start actually seeing what's going on, because I'm going to start painting different colors than gray. So these guys, I imagine, have like, it looks like they have some cloth on under their armor, and I'm just going to paint that like a dark grayish black, because they're spooky guys. You know, they're not fashionable. High enough animal handling check, anyone can get a pet. That's true. I actually should have mentioned that. You can, I mean, you can just get a pet in the world. That happens a lot too. Like if you find an animal and are kind to it, maybe it will join your party. And like in my last campaign, or in one of my last campaigns, they got a forgot what they're called. It's a cat. It's basically a cat with wings. What are those called? I forgot what they're called. Anyway, but yeah, it's like they got a little cat friend that followed them, and eventually they used magic to teach it how to talk. So they had just this little chill little cat buddy that hung out with them. Okay, where's this guy's pants at? What's the biggest way your world is different from official D&D lore? I don't know. I don't know if I've ever thought about that. I don't know. I think my worlds are usually have like a lot more access to magic than a lot of other campaigns do. Or not, maybe not access to magic, but just more magic. Like I think the general consensus about D&D is that magic is kind of a rare, valuable resource, and only like wizards who study their entire lives have access to high level magic. But I kind of make it pretty common. Like there's a lot of highly magical people in my worlds, because I just think it's cool. And with magic, you can do whatever you want. I'm already seeing a lot of spots where I need to add more armor color, but that always happens. Does the DM get to give the pets characters to get players invested too, like the chop? Yeah, like I was saying earlier. DM can surely, in fact, DMs often do this on purpose because they know players like it, so they make pets available to them. But the problem with, not the problem, but if you give a player a pet or give players a pet, you have to remember that they're there. Because sometimes you give them a pet and then they just don't do anything for the rest of the campaign. So try to remember that they're there, that the pet is there. All right, I'm gonna fill in some of these spots that I missed. Am I gonna give them red eyes? I don't know. Eyes are hard. I'll try, but doing the eyes correctly is very hard because you actually have to be you have to put the paint in the right spot or else it looks stupid. Yeah, I'd like to get a 3D printer one of these days. This inspires me to wonder if I could paint my own minis. You absolutely can. It's not hard. I promise it's not hard. Like, unless you're trying to enter some kind of mini painting contest, you don't have to, like, it's like very simple to make decent looking minis. And it's not about manual dexterity or anything. Trust me, I have a very shaky hand. My lines are not clean. Paint runs over. I miss spots, but I promise it'll still look okay at the end. If you can move the brush, you can paint minis, I promise. These guys have like skulls on their shoulders, so I might paint those skull color. I don't know if that'll look good though. Actually, that'll probably look good. Yeah. Gotta remember those pets. And that's another thing too. If you have a pet, you have to decide whether you are going to put that pet in danger as the DM. Again, confer with your players to make sure they're okay with that. They may not be. You certainly don't have to, but you can make players care more if you do. And again, it doesn't look like much at the moment, but it'll come together very quickly. That's kind of the cool thing about painting minis. As for how long it takes, it's probably gonna take me a little longer because I'm interacting with chat and stuff. If I'm just chilling in the zone, I could probably get all these done in like an hour and a half, but it'll probably take me a little longer because I'm interacting with chat. Yeah, definitely do some research. First step is just literally putting the colors where they go. Try to like imagine what the color is going to look like. Don't get too complicated with it, especially when you're first starting out. Just pick a few base colors. Like for this guy, this is a pretty simple mini. Like for this guy here, he's just got armor, and there are parts where you can see cloth under the armor, and that's it. So I'm painting the armor and I'm painting the cloth under. I might add some white for shoulder pads, and the shield has kind of like a skull on it. I might paint that white and see what that looks like. The thing about it is okay if you mess up because you can paint over it. This guy with the cape is a little more complex, so I'll think about how I'm gonna do that in a moment, but these guys are easy. So that's the first step, just get the base paint down, get everything roughly the color you want it to be. And then we'll get to the next part, which is where the magic really happens. When you add the wash, it's like a cheat code. Wait, forgot what I was gonna paint here. Hey T1J, nice to see you stream again. Hope you've been good. I've been good, thanks. Thanks for asking. Thanks for mentioning. So they have this little sash, which I don't know if you can see, but I'm just gonna go ahead and paint that gray. Because these guys are supposed to be like undead, so I don't think they need bright colors or anything like that. They're supposed to be a little spooky, but you do want to try to use, have some contrast so that the mini pops out. I think I'm going to paint this guy's waistband black. I don't know if that makes sense as far as like armor goes, but it doesn't matter as long as it looks good. Okay. So their sword has this kind of like, looks like it has energy around it. Or maybe that's just a big sword. I think it's just a sword that has like energy around it. So I'm gonna paint that energy a certain color. But first, let me paint the sword. You can probably see that I'm like shaking a little bit, but you know, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Is spray painting easier? I think I don't think spray painting on its own, well, unless you're going for like a very basic look, but usually you do a combination of spray painting and hand painting. But I've never really used airbrushing before, so I don't know exactly how easy it is. But I think for detail, airbrushing doesn't work. But it's good for getting like a base coat or a base gradient down. And maybe for larger miniatures it's good, but I think for details, I don't know how else you would do it outside of using your hands. Okay, what do I need to do? Let's get some white on there for the little shoulder pads and the shield. This is kind of an off-white color. It's called Mummy Robes. That's the name of the paint color. Color blocking, yeah, basically the same thing. Okay. Also, sometimes things don't look correct until the paint dries, because the topmost layer kind of evaporates. So sometimes you have to give it a second. Their shield has like this skull on the front of it, which in real life it probably wouldn't be a real skull because that doesn't really make any sense. But I'm gonna paint it white because I think that would look cool. And again, we live in a magical world where they can do whatever they want. So maybe they did magically attach a giant dragon skull to the front of their shield. Who knows? But I think it looks cool. I don't know if you can tell. Okay. They have, I'm sure you can't tell, but they have skulls on their shoulders as well, so I'm gonna paint those white. Okay, I see another part that I missed. What's my luckiest throw? Well, I'm a DM, so I get to roll the dice a lot. But probably the craziest thing I think is, I think I got like 3 nat 20s in a row, and it was a monster hitting in a player, so that was not fun for them. I have experience in drawing. I mean, I used to draw a lot when I was younger. Found another spot I missed, so let's do that really quick. Yeah, you can have shaky hands. I mean, because the you know, when someone looks at the mini, again, unless they're judging you for detail, they're not going to look up close and like, oh, you missed a spot there. They're going to be like, oh, that's cool. So, you know, even so, sometimes I am a little too perfectionist about it, but I just want to make sure I get all the spots, you know? Another hack is to prime your miniatures black. So use a black base coat, because in that case, the parts that you missed will just look like shadows rather than unpainted spots. Like this gray, when it's unpainted, you can really tell it's unpainted, but if it's black, it just looks like a shadow, which is cool. I got real close to dipping my paintbrush in my water cup right there. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and paint these capes while I can because that's easy. What color though? What color do you guys think I should paint these capes? Keep in mind these are like undead knights. These guys actually have skull faces. So I'll go ahead and do that actually. I'm gonna let the other guys dry and then do the wash, which is my favorite part. Never thought about how bones would not be very good armor, but you're totally right. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I missed tons of spots. Purple. I'm definitely gonna do a wash. Do purple. Okay, I need to grab a purple. Shit. I have to be very careful because I have this set up. Actually, I'm actually gonna get up. So you can see I have this wire behind me, so I can't necessarily back up. All right. I feel like I'm low in the frame. Shaky hands can be helped with a rubber band around the other fingers. Yeah, I actually do remember that from Critical Role. Ew. Might have to change up my water. It's getting kind of muddy. I appreciate you because we need to see black people doing esoteric things, broaden what we see as available to ourselves. Maybe. I'm just kind of living, doing stuff I like. If that inspires people, then that's great. See, this is probably an opportunity to use a bigger brush. In fact, let's do that. So just get that color down. This is a little bit annoying because I have to get under the cape here, which I think I can manage, but sometimes you encounter minis that clearly did not have the painter in mind when they printed it, because you have to really like get some weird spots. And this is even harder because I have these other minis in the way. So I might have to leave the frame in order to get some of these spots. What is happening? Can you see the title of the video? I'm painting some miniatures for my D&D game. As the title suggests, I'm not sure. Is it possible to get to this video without seeing the title? Okay, this, I don't know if I can get this part without the other minis, without moving the other minis. Jesus. All right, let's go ahead and get some of this down. Is Florida the state with the lowest amount of D&D? That seems unlikely. But I don't know. Is the title a suggestion? You mean the Ask Me Anything part? I guess you could take it as a suggestion. But you are free to ask me anything. That's basically what that means. If you don't care about the miniature painting part, you can hang out and just chat about whatever you want to chat about. That's kind of the idea of this stream. You feel like painting a big mini would be more pressure. More pressure? Pressure for whom? For me? I actually think that big minis are much easier to paint than small minis, because it's a lot easier to paint things the way you want because it's bigger. The details aren't quite as small, so you can get the paint down easier, in my opinion. Especially if you've got like a nice detailed miniature. That's a big part of it, actually, is the mini itself decides how well the paint job comes out. If you got a really detailed miniature, the paint comes out a lot better. Oh, I can get this spot. I thought I couldn't reach this spot, but I think I got it. I thought about getting one of those spy glasses. I actually have a magnifier type of thing. I haven't really used it much though. I'll probably give it a try one of these days. Here's an example. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. If you can see that guy on the right, I got some purple paint on his clothes. And, you know, if you're first starting painting, you might think that's really annoying, but it's fine. You can paint over it. It's totally fine. Truly no big deal whatsoever. I mean, if you're like making a boss mini or like painting a boss mini, you do want it to look cool and imposing, so maybe there's pressure in that way, but I also think it's easier to make them look cool, so it's kind of a trade-off. So this guy, I'm gonna also paint his cowl purple, because he's got a little cowl on, which I would imagine is like connected to his cape, or at least, you know, matched with his cape. I don't think undead knights necessarily care about fashion, but perhaps when they were still alive, you know, it was important to wear the right colors. Yeah, when I leave the frame, that means I have to like get a weird angle to get a spot. And the other guys are probably dry now, which means we can get to the fun part on those. Probably should have positioned this guy a little different. What's up, rabbit dude? So they have this cowl and also this sash that goes across their torso, which I'll probably also color purple. And then there's kind of like a robe situation under that, which I have to decide how to do. He's also got colors behind him, which is kind of annoying because it's under the cape. But I don't have to worry about that too much because people are not going to be investigating that too much. So I'm just going to put some purple back there and not worry too much about it, because also when I add the wash, I could also fill in some of those spots as well. Type of setup do I use? Well, I use a flat map currently that I print out. It's just the easiest thing to do. Eventually I'd like to get more into 3D stuff, but that's pretty expensive to do. You know, if you like buy pre-made stuff. I've seen some really amazing like homemade 3D maps, and maybe I'll try that one day, but that seems pretty time consuming. But maybe for like, you know, the final boss or something, I can invest in a 3D map, because that would be super tight. But for now, I'll just print out 2D maps, and those are cool in my opinion. All right. Now I'm gonna this part is cool. So I'm gonna put a wash on these guys, and it's going to completely transform them, because they're supposed to be undead knights, so they're not going to have this shiny pristine armor. It's going to be muddy, it's going to be dirty, it's going to be rusty. And also we want to add some shadows in there. So if you've never seen this before, it's truly dope. So this is a wash. The wash is basically like very thin paint, and what it does is it seeps into the texture of the mini and adds a lot of shadows and just makes it pop. It's like a cheat code for making the mini look good. It's really quite remarkable. Where did I get these? Online. I think I literally got them from Amazon, but these are Nolzur's mini, Nolzur. They make like the highest quality minis that are still inexpensive. Nolzur's. If you're ever looking for minis that look good, just Google Nolzur's. Nolzur's, however you say it. So these are the perfect minis for the wash, because there's so many grooves in the armor and stuff for the paint to kind of sink into. Can I say hi to your puppy? Hello, puppy. What's your go-to D&D snack? So can you see that? You see how how much more detail and texture there is now? See if you can see it in the big camera. All I did was just put some wash on it. It's a little hard to see, but I think you get the idea. And again, I see a lot of spots that I missed. How many of these have I already painted? How many of these particularly are just minis in general? I have painted dozens, if not hundreds of minis at this point, but these are the first. No, I painted 2 of these before, and these are copies of those. All right, now I'm filling in more spots that I noticed that I missed, because that's just what happens. Just go back and keep filling stuff in. What am I playing as in D&D? I'm the dungeon master. Let me paint the hilt of a sword. And I have kind of a very haphazard method. I just kind of go back and forth. Not very organized. My gray paint has dried. I need to make some more. Not currently doing a homebrew setting. We're currently running the Curse of Strahd module. Yeah, we're about 12-13 sessions into Curse of Strahd. How many have I painted in my life? Probably over 100. Which is probably nothing compared to like the true veterans. But if not over 100, very close to 100. Yeah, I won't spoil anything. I'll just say it's spooky. Okay. I almost forgot what I was mixing that paint for. I'm just gonna paint the hilt of these swords just a grayish black color, just to keep it simple. No need to overthink things. You know, when you're painting like your personal character, maybe you want to get detailed about the color schemes and stuff, but these are just enemies. Okay. This guy has a sword on his waist. When did I start playing? About 5 to 6 years ago. I'm still kind of new to the game compared to some people, but I think 5 years is plenty to really get a good idea of how the game works. Have I ever earned money from painting? Nope. I have not. All right, let's put the wash on this guy. And there are, you know, there's brown washes, there's black washes. I'm using kind of a dark brown just because I like the effect. It kind of makes it look like, you know, old dirty armor. Which is kind of what I'm going for. The brown also looks good on the bones because it makes the bones kind of look dirty and old as well. Like they wouldn't have fresh, clean skulls on, I don't imagine. And honestly, these guys are pretty much done. I might add some highlights or something if I can, if I feel like it, you know. The wash can also cover up spots you miss. That's another benefit of doing the wash. So yeah, like I'm gonna paint the bases as well, but those are fine. You could totally stop there if you wanted to. It's my favorite D&D monster. I really like Oni. People don't use Oni enough. Also, I'm a fan of just dragons. Dragons are so dope. And they're one of the only like fleshed out high level monsters, you know, that just are just straight up in the monster manual. There's not that many super high level monsters. At least not in the original books, because they don't expect people to play for that long. All right, so what color do I need for this guy? Because he's got like a robe on over his armor. He has purple cape and sash. So maybe I can use that same black color. Will that look good though? All right, Big Moon, thanks for stopping by. What time is it in the USA? Well, the USA has many time zones, but where I am in the central time zone, it is 10:52 p.m. Will brown look good? I'm just gonna try brown and see what happens. Why not? Wait, it's 9:50. Did I say 10:53? It's 9:53. Kind of late night. Usually I would stream earlier, but I had some stuff to do earlier. Had some errands to run. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this, but again, you can always paint over stuff if you don't like it. Just gotta let it dry. But it might be fine. Times are very close. Well, yeah, I guess they are close, but I just want it to be correct. This looks fine. I unfortunately have not seen the D&D movie yet. That's on my list. Oh, there's a whole section back here that I didn't paint yet. That's fine. I should be able to get in there. Probably could zoom in more. that even in focus? I don't know. I don't know if I can get much better in this very moment. This is the wrong brush. Did I hear that Omegle has been shut down? Is that real? I did not hear that. All right, I like the brown, so I'm gonna paint the other guy brown as well. Again, I could probably make the colors a little more diverse because it looks like he's wearing several layers of clothing, but I'm going to keep it very simple because I think it'll still look good. Again, I'm not trying to win any painting contests. I'm just trying to make something that looks cool for my players. And, you know, that's all. That's really all you need to aim for when you're painting miniatures, as long as it looks cool enough. Capes are cool, but they are kind of annoying because you eventually have to paint behind them, which can be a pain. All right, Samuka, thanks for checking out the stream. It just happened today. Interesting. Is it for the reasons that you would imagine? Like child safety and pornography and stuff? Or is it for some other reason? Keeping my space clean. I guess it's okay, but my desk is a little messy, but I've carved out a little spot for myself here. Alright. Got some other stuff to fill in here. Can I activate my silver paint? It's better to have a wet palette, which is basically you can put like, use like an absorbent material and put like a wet paper towel under it. It keeps the paint from drying too quickly, but I'm currently not doing that. So I actually end up wasting a lot of paint, which is not great. But I don't know, sometimes you just gotta use your process even if it's a little bit wasteful. And you know, paint actually lasts a decent amount of time. So it's not like you just run out of paint all the time. Do I do any other form of art? I make videos. That's art. But no, I mean, not really. I used to draw, but I don't really do it much anymore, which is a little sad. I kind of miss drawing, but I don't know, I just stopped doing it. Especially once I started to focus on making videos, that was kind of like my way of expressing myself. I mainly do this, I mean, this is fun, but I mainly do it just for my D&D games. I probably wouldn't do it if I didn't run D&D games. But it is fun to do, and I find it very relaxing. My paint is drying. This paint is called gunmetal. I don't know if you can see it. Gunmetal. That's the paint that I'm using for basically all of the metal parts. I have a lot of different metallic paints, but that's like, I think that's my favorite one that I have. Or at least I feel like it's the most realistic looking. I have some others that are like really shiny silver, which is useful for certain things, but probably not for this. So my thing, I think that this guy is just covered in armor and just has some cloth over it. So I'm just going to paint all of this metal. Started D&D recently and I love it. I have a Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer and it's been a lot of fun. That's dope. I also love D&D. It is literally my favorite thing to do. Yikes. That kind of, I don't know if you saw that, but that paint kind of spread a little more than I would have liked. Right now I'm just filling in some spots. There's some purple spots that I need to fill in. Yikes. Okay. So chill and relaxing. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I do think that my streams, that is one way you can describe my streams, is that they are chill. And hopefully that is appealing to some people. I think some people might prefer a more exciting stream, but I'm just not that guy, really. I'm a very chill guy who just likes to chill and relax. We can probably do the wash for these guys now, which is very exciting. I'm actually getting this done faster than I thought I would. I think it's because I'm just not stressing about it. Sometimes I spend like an hour just trying to figure out the color scheme, but I've painted minis like this before already. I feel like I just hit the mic, sorry if that made noise, but also I'm just chilling, you know, I'm not thinking about it as much as I could, which is good. It's the way it should be. Okay, let's see how the wash looks. I think I'm gonna do a brown wash on the cloth and a black wash on the armor. Where's my wash at, bro? There we go. All right, I still have some on the palette. Let's do that. The founder acknowledged persistent criminal activity, and critics said that it had become a haven for pedophilia. Wow. I don't find that surprising, to be honest. But yeah, a lot of people did. There's actually some really cool Omegle content. So hopefully those people find a way to transition. Am I gonna watch the new Captain Marvel movie? I am gonna watch it. I am a Marvel fanboy, so I'm here for whatever they make. But I will say it's a bit hard to, you know, to push the envelope anymore. So, you know, I've been enjoying Loki. I think Loki is just one of the best things that they've made. Both seasons are cool. First season's better, of course, but I still like second season. And I'm already seeing that there's mixed reactions to the Marvels, so we'll see. Damn it, I found another spot I missed. Sending you love. Have a happy Thursday, dude. I appreciate that. Same to you. But I don't know. I think the Marvel movies are made specifically for someone like me. I grew up obsessed with comic books and have been clamoring my whole life for decent superhero movies. I remember when the first Spider-Man movie came out with Tobey Maguire, I was so excited. That was like a life-changing experience watching that movie in theaters. And ever since then, I've just been hooked. And the MCU movies have largely been decent. Obviously, some of them are better than others. Some people think that the quality of them has dropped. I don't know if I would agree with that. I think it's about the same. I think it's the same frequency of like good to great to not so great as it's always been. But, you know, I think people are just sick of the concept of superhero movies at this point. Not necessarily that the movies are worse, because I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is just as good as anything they've made. Wakanda Forever is just as good as anything they've made. Loki season 2. In fact, all of the TV shows are good in my opinion. Secret Invasion kind of ended with a whimper. I thought it was great for the most part, but the ending in last episode was like kind of trash. Yeah, the Spider-Man 3 is a little kind of whack, but 1 and 2 is great. But just, you know, because, you know, growing up, transformer blow or something. Hopefully my internet doesn't go out. But yeah, you know, superhero movies was kind of always associated with, oh, that's gonna be a bad B movie. You know, the movies that we grew up with like Spawn and Daredevil, those movies were bad. But the Spider-Man movie was like the saving grace. It was like, oh, maybe they can make a good superhero movie. And then MCU came along and was like, we're about to pull what I call a pro gamer move. And just kind of revolutionized, or arguably revolutionized, some say negatively affected Hollywood as a whole, which I can see the merit of that argument. It kind of set the stage for every movie having to be a huge blockbuster, and made it harder for indie and, you know, lower budget movies to get made, and that kind of sucks. Okay, now let's try Blackwash for the armor. Not totally sure how this is gonna look, but I'm sure it will be fine. Thank you, Tybot. I am having a good day, indeed. Oh. Some on the helmet here. Get some on the shield. Probably need a light behind me in the future. That not only will that make it easy for me to see, that'll make it easier for you all to see. I mean, there is a kind of a light above me, but it's not really doing much. How many miniatures do I have to paint? Just these for now. But I've always got, there's always more to paint, which, you know, if people enjoy these streams, I'm happy to do more like this, because there's always more to paint. Like, well, I can show you after, but right here I have like a bucket full of unpainted miniatures. And with the wash, you don't even have to be very precise. Just kind of spread it around till it looks okay. Put some on the sword. Okay. What paints? This is the Army Painter War Paints. These, I like these a lot actually. I'm sure these are just kind of like a cheap set that I got, but they have served me well. There may be better ones out there, but I've had these for a while and I haven't run out of them, so. But these are good. I've used some other ones that weren't as good. This one here is Master Paint or something. I forgot, MSP. This kind, I don't like these as much. But these are the Army Painter ones. These are nice. All right, what do we have to do? I'm gonna paint that little energy around these swords. I'll just paint in blue just for a little pop of color. I already see I missed the spot on the sword. Didn't paint the hilt. So I shall do that. But yeah, you see I added a little blue to the sword. I was thinking about maybe adding a little blood on the sword or something like that. Let's paint those hilts real quick. Do I have any more of this paint? But those of you who have been here for the whole session, you see how it's like doesn't look like anything and then it just comes together at the end. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. Paint this real quick. Yeah, I could really use a light like right here. So I will make sure to have that next time. Okay. There's a few more things that I missed. Got some blank spots on the hands here. So now when the wash dries, we can go back in with the regular color just to add a little more color back into it. So I'm going to add a little more of the purple back into the cape. just so it looks a little less muddy. I want it to look dirty, so that's fine. But I think this will make it pop just a little bit more. In fact, I could just straight up, I could use a highlight color, like a light purple. But I think if this was a different kind of character, I might do that. But I kind of want it to look dirty, so. Okay. And I'll do the same with the brown. I always wanted to paint. Whenever I see someone paint, they turn out great. The thing I've told some other people here, it is not hard to do. As long as you understand that you're not looking for perfection, you're just trying to make something that looks cool. Quite easy to get into. Okay. Honestly, these are okay. I'm just gonna paint the bases and be done. This is another tip. Always paint your bases. It really makes the mini come together. So what color? I like to paint the bases just a kind of like a random contrasting color just to make it stand out. I'm gonna use orange. But if you want to, you could also you could paint the base a color that fits like the natural environment. So like these guys are like undead soldiers that might be like haunting a castle or something. So you can make the base the color of like stones or something like that. But I like to make it contrast. So I go the abstract route, just make it like a really bright color. Also makes it easier to see and parse when it's like on the board. But you'll see like once the base is painted, it really just makes it look finished. And sometimes when you paint the base, in fact, it may be a good idea to paint the base first, because sometimes when you paint the base, you mess up something you've already painted, but that's fine. You can just go back over it. It can be annoying, but it is definitely not the end of the world. And in fact, if you mess up, you don't even have to fix it. It's fine. Just leave it. Who cares? I think I am going to be lazy and paint all of these orange though. I could paint them different colors, but I've already got the orange paint out here, so let's just do that. But yeah, you see the minis painted, the base is painted, and to me that just looks more done. So let's do that for all of them, and then I'm probably going to be done. Is there more that I could do? Sure. Of course. I could clean this up even more, but does it look good enough to lay on the table in my game? Yep. So I'm happy. If this was like a boss character, I may put a little more effort into it. In fact, I'll show you one, if I can, in a sec, that is a little more effortful. After I'm done with these. I haven't seen the most recent Loki episode. Please no spoilers. Probably gonna do that as soon as I end the stream. And it's gonna look even better once the paint dries. You know, when you first lay the paint down, it's kind of shiny, but after the paint dries, it looks better. And the minis, they come with a little like texture on the base, but I usually just paint over it. But you know, if you want to be fancy, you can paint the texture that it comes with a different color, or you could just not use the base at all. I like to use bases though. It just helps them stand up better. Some minis have trouble standing up on their own without the base, but the base makes it look less realistic, I guess. Also, the base helps you, if you're using a grid, the base helps you like determine where people are actually standing. But sometimes it looks cooler without the base. Is this for a homebrew game? No, it is. We are running Cursive Stride currently, which is a pre-written module. Sorry for hitting the mic right there. Just finishing these bases off, and then I'm probably going to call it a day on these. That will do it. Okay. I got some orange paint on my sword here, so I gotta fix that. Some things you can leave it as is, but that's pretty simple to fix. But so that's easy enough to fix, so I'll go ahead and fix it. Hopefully this paint is dry. Replace that blue edge there. I enjoy painting minis. It does take some time, but it's relaxing. You can put a podcast or a show on or something and listen to it while you're painting. I think we'll put a slight blood effect on the Cape guy's sword. Just see what that looks like. Say this guy's been busy. It's like a little bit of blood. Like maybe he just got through wrecking somebody. I think maybe the brown is a little dull, but I think I'm gonna go with this for now. So, paint's not fully dry here. Okay. Get rid of this cam because I believe I'm done painting. And then let's look at the finished. I'm almost certain I'm gonna find a spot that I missed, but I'm over it for right now. Yeah, you should I definitely don't recommend trying to hold the mini like this while you're painting, because A, you're gonna get paint all over your hands, and B, you're gonna cramp your fingers very quickly. Okay, let's see what we got here. This guy, I can't hold it. I'm not a beauty YouTuber. I don't know how to do this. It's focusing on my hand. Focus. Camera. Okay. There's this guy. Yeah, it wants to focus on my hand instead of the guy. There we go. There's that guy. And the others are just copies of those guys. Focus, baby. So they came out all right. I wish it would focus on these guys, Jesus. Anyway. So that's what we've done today. I think they came out okay. And these guys are really strong. So they should give my players a tough battle. I have some other ones that I painted recently. There's a tiger. Painted this tiger. If you are in my game, you should leave because these are spoilers. I think if they were here, they probably would have said hello, so I don't think they're here. But just giving you fair warning, you shouldn't be in the stream. But this is an upcoming boss. This is a slightly bigger one. I think the big minis are easy to paint. But this is kind of like an undead soldier on a horse. On an undead horse. This is like one of my favorite minis that I have. It's super tight. I wish it would just focus. I promise it looks good in person. That horse looks fucking gross, which I love. Anyway, there we go. And it's not hard to do. And so yeah, I got those, how long has it been? I got all those done in about 2 hours. So not that much time, especially once you kind of have an idea of what you're doing. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of the tiger. So, that was the stream. I'll chill for about 10-15 more minutes. But yeah. I got a lot of minis to paint, so if you guys like that sort of thing, I will definitely do it more. If you hate it, please tell me, and then I won't do it. But it seemed like people were generally okay with it. I do plan to stream a little bit more often. I've actually streamed a few times in the past few weeks, which is rare for me. I hope to, one of the things I do hope to stress is that it's not that hard to do. Like, people, you should not be intimidated by painting miniatures because it's not hard. In my D&D game, each of the players painted their own mini, and they all came out great. And none of them, you know, have experience or a lot of experience doing it. I think you just need a slight amount of guidance. Because, like, for example, the washes that I did, a lot of people don't know that you could do that. But that right there will make, you know, the minis look good. My favorite D&D monsters. I talked about this before. I do like, I think my favorite is the Oni. It's a very underutilized monster for a low-level party. It can be a very terrifying monster for a lower level party. And they can fly, they can go invisible. They're super dope. But I also just like the classic dragon. Dragons are dope. I have a lot of dragon minis as well. I don't think I have any on me right now. They're at the spot where we play at. But I have several dragon miniatures, and dragons are just always cool. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I love Dungeons and Dragons in general, is because there are dragons. I know that there are dragons in other worlds, but I just like dragons. I enjoyed lurking here. My game is 100% virtual, so we use random art for various monsters and players. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the virtual game. In fact, a lot of people who play in person don't particularly use maps and minis, but I love maps and I love minis. Mini painting is my favorite hobby, and it's always nice to see a creator I respect getting into it. That's dope. I enjoy doing it. I mean, I mostly do it out of necessity, just to have cool minis for my game. But I always need cool minis for my game, so I'm always painting. And I enjoy doing it, so. One thing that's a slight shame in D&D is they made Harass into like Godzilla. The original French creature is like a six-legged turtle with a lion head and legs and a scorpion tail. Oh, sounds like you're describing a what are they called? I forgot what they're called. What's the creature that has like chimera? That's what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I actually put my players against a Tarask one time. We did a level 21 shot and I made them fight a Tarask. And they eventually beat it, but it was very hard. That creature is overpowered. Do I play other RPGs or board games? I love Scrabble. I just made a video about Scrabble. I have played, currently I'm only playing D&D as far as RPGs go. But I have played many, like Vampire the Masquerade, which I love a lot and I want to play more of. I played Call of Cthulhu, I played Kids on Brooms, Kids on Bikes, and some other random stuff. I've homebrewed a system that's kind of based on Kids on Bikes. But yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna end the stream in about 5 minutes here. Just wanted to chill for a sec before I go. I might try to stream tomorrow. I might actually play some Scrabble on stream. What fictional genres would you want to run a TTRPG in? I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Dimension 20, and Dimension 20 always has really interesting, weird campaign settings. And I just want to do something like that. I kind of want to do a modern day campaign. I've never done that before, and I think that would be cool. Outside of that, though, I want to do something like most fantasy, or at least like swords and sorcery type fantasy. It's like it takes place in a like medieval type of setting or Bronze Age type of setting, and I want to do something more modern than that, like Renaissance era type stuff. I wonder how that would work. I would like to do something like that. If I play Scrabble, am I gonna cheat and let chat help? I probably wouldn't cheat, but I kind of doubt, well, unless chat is cheating, because it'd be pretty easy for chat to cheat, but I can just ignore chat. But if chat themselves isn't cheating, I kind of doubt that chat would really offer that much help. But obviously chat can just go on a website and cheat. But no, if I'm playing against humans, then I won't, absolutely won't cheat. But the thing about Scrabble, I think people cheat all the time on Scrabble, but the cool thing about Scrabble is that there's a lot of luck in the game, and you can win with defense just as much as you can with just knowing words. So sometimes even if someone is cheating, you can still beat them just because they don't actually understand, you know, the entirety of the game. It's different than chess. Like chess just kind of straight up, a chess engine will just straight up tell you, do this move, this is the best move. But in Scrabble, the best move is very subjective sometimes. But sometimes just knowing an obscure word is what you need to win, and cheating definitely helps with that. Like, I think if I play on these websites and start and climb the ranks to where I start playing high level players, I'm guessing that a lot of those players are people who cheat. I'm making a custom mini campaign at the moment with the Tibetan-inspired setting. Basically, the players are tasked with escorting this box for the kingdom, but there's a big mystery what's inside it. I love that idea. Mysteries are good. That's a DM tip for anyone that is new to DMing. Have a mystery that takes them a long time to solve. But you have to, the thing about mysteries is you have to make them hard to solve, because there's a lot of magic and players are very clever. And if the player does something clever, you should honor it. So like, for example, if you have a box, but they find a way to look in the box, and it's a clever, a clever way to do it, I think you should honor that, even though it spoils the surprise, because it makes the player feel smart. I know some players are really resistant when their players kind of spoil their plans, but you have to honor the players when they do something cool. That's why it's always a gamble if you make your enemies show up early, because your players might decide to fight them. And if they have a good plan, they might kill your final boss way earlier than you meant for them to. So it's always a gamble. Yeah, you just have to make sure you have consistent rules. There's a lot of ways to get around locked boxes, even magically locked boxes. And just make sure you have consistent rules. Because if you just say, no, it doesn't work because I say so, your players might not like that. But there's something, like lead in D&D world, lead blocks magic. So, putting things in lead helps. But, if there's a lock on the box, your rogue can pick the lock. A wizard can cast knock, which breaks locks. There are magic items that let you see through things, so there's a lot of things if they cared. But often, sometimes players will kind of see where you're coming from and try to work with you, so that happens too. But I think at this point in my DMing, whenever I have something, I always think, what if the players figure this out before I mean for them to? Let me be prepared just in case that happens. It happens rarely, but it does happen sometimes. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, y'all. Thanks for coming through and hanging out. Again, if you like this kind of thing where, I just chill and paint some stuff, I definitely am down to do that more. But I'm going to do some other stuff as well as just the, just the hanging out, ask me anything type of stream. But anyway, I gotta do my little plug. If you like this sort of chill discussion, friendly discussion, consider joining the Discord community. I believe there's a link in the chat that happened recently. But the Discord is dope. I'm pretty active on the Discord as well, so check that out. And I guess that's it. I just wanted to plug that. But I may stream tomorrow, so keep a lookout for that. The easiest way is to click the notification bell. Also, I'm going to start having notifications on the Discord for when I stream, so look out for that. But yeah, I believe that is it. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.